Our society will never be great until our cities are great. So said President Johnson in his message on American cities. Greatness is not the same as bigness. To be great, a city must be an enjoyable place in which to live as well as work. A place where urban activities can flourish, bringing pleasure and pride to all its citizens. These urban activities include governmental functions, trade and finance, and commerce at all levels, from manufacturer to consumer. In great city centers are the headquarters of public institutions and of private enterprises. Great cities enrich our lives intellectually, socially, as well as culturally. And they provide opportunities for entertainment and relaxation. Today, many of our cities do not fulfill their proper function. They are no longer enjoyable places to live and work in. Instead, they have become unsafe, unhealthy, and often ugly. As a result, people flee from the cities into suburbia. This creates new problems for the metropolitan regions, where unplanned growth destroys natural beauty, and where the bulldozer is fast becoming king of the mountain. What causes these changes in our cities? One product of our technology in particular has encouraged urban sprawl and the exploding metropolis, the invention which has given us greatest mobility, the private automobile. As cars multiply in number, we must build more and more complex structures to cope with them. Yet, even these triumphs of engineering prove inadequate during rush hours, when the instrument of individual mobility becomes instead one of collective immobility. Entering the city center, the driver faces the problem of moving within it. He joins a grim battle for space and time. Cars and pedestrians cross and recross each other's path in stop-and-go confusion. At his destination, the motorist is confronted with yet another problem. He must park his bulky travel container and pay dearly for this privilege. So valuable acreage in the city center is preempted by the storage of cars. The compactness of the city is destroyed, and buildings stand like islands in an ocean of moving or stored vehicles. As soon as the driver leaves his car and becomes a pedestrian, he switches sides in the battle between man and machine. He is now threatened by the dangers, noises, and fumes arising from the indiscriminate mixture of machines and people. Thus, the motorist's headaches and the pedestrian's frustrations are two sides of the same coin. A city which has become a battleground. A city which has lost its compactness. A city which destroys human values. That city has failed. Consequently, its residents move by the millions to outlying areas. Here they find better places to live and raise their families. Merchants follow their customers, stretching along miles and miles of suburban highways. In some exceptional cases, planned shopping centers provide agreeable pedestrian environments. But all too often, suburbia only recreates the problems and the ugliness of the city. While suburbs spread, distances to the city center increase and the center withers. Physical and economic deterioration set in. The remaining residents are those who, for economic, racial, or ethnic reasons, are unable to move to suburbia. Assessed valuation drops, and the city's tax income shrinks at the very moment when budgets are skyrocketing for public welfare, for crime prevention, for traffic control, and firefighting. All this is part of the urban crisis. It is clear that without decisive action, our city centers may become dreary ghost towns. This film reports the story of one city which faced up to its urban crisis. A city in which government, citizens, and planners working together are creating a city reborn. This is Fresno, California. Located midway between San Francisco and Los Angeles, it is a trading center for the fertile San Joaquin Valley. Fresno was incorporated in 1885 as a town of 2,000 residents. Its open marketplace served the surrounding countryside, and like many American cities, it functioned well in the horse and buggy days. Then came the automobile and the seeds of modern urban problems. Street patterns and street sizes already frozen in concrete had to cope as best they could with the new traffic loads. Between 1885 and the end of World War II, Fresno grew to a city of 75,000. Today, its irregular boundaries surround a population of 250,000. It is a center of influence for nearly 1 million people. During the mid-1950s, Fresno's civic leaders recognized the familiar warning signs. With the suburbs expanding and growing self-sufficient, downtown streets were clogged with traffic going through town, not to town. Downtown's percentage of total sales volume and assessed valuation began to drop. In response to this challenge, the Fresno Redevelopment Agency and the Downtown Association were formed. In 1958, together with the city government, these groups retained a planning, architectural, and engineering organization to study the problems on a city-wide scale. As one part of the study, a comprehensive plan of the 2,000-acre central area was developed. Its aim is revitalization by improving accessibility and traffic circulation, and by creating a more enjoyable urban environment. An improved system of arterial roads was planned to speed traffic flow within the central area. Future freeway routes were adopted to act as bypasses for through traffic, and also to provide an outer circulation loop to distribute traffic to and from town. Work is well along on the vital freeway loop. The community responded with interest to the renewal program and its goals of bringing residents and urban activities back to the city. The plan led to the development of residential redevelopment projects and of a bold concept, linking the civic center, a new convention center, and the business core into one continuous pedestrian environment. Within the central area, the core was planned in careful detail. The aim, revitalization, with a minimum of demolition, blending the old with the new. Within the 80-acre core are Fresno's major business and retail enterprises. But with local and through traffic flowing in from all sides, downtown streets were congested, parking was inadequate, and pedestrians were endangered. The solution? Separate cars and pedestrians for the benefit of both. A one-way inner loop collects and distributes the incoming traffic. Ample parking facilities are provided adjoining the loop. Streets inside the loop are converted into areas reserved for pedestrians only. Fulton Street and its side streets were to become the first link in downtown's pedestrian environment. The metamorphosis began on the last day of March 1964. Finishing touches complete the transformation, and a new image of the city emerges. Where wires disfigured the sky, tree branches now filter the sunlight. Where there were parking meters, now there are flowers. Gas pumps have given way to drinking fountains. Debris-filled gutters are gone, and the sight and sound of cooling water have taken their place. In short, what was an ordinary, typical Main Street is now an extraordinary place designed for the enjoyment of people. Exactly 5 months after groundbreaking, the governor of California presided over the official opening of Fresno's revitalized core. What had seemed to some the dream of visionaries is now reality. The residents of the region have new reasons to come downtown. The pleasures of the old town square, the atmosphere of the plaza, or the classical forum are recreated in a contemporary scale. Gone are the cars with their chalk-marked pavements, traffic signals, fumes, noises, and hazards. This new environment is not just the result of subtracting the automobile, but the effect of adding many new elements, of elements to please the human senses, of elements to add interest and enjoyment. Many new works of art are being commissioned and installed by a citizens' art committee. Here is a safe and pleasant environment for the very young, for senior citizens, and for those who formerly may have feared the dangers of downtown. The effect on downtown business has been dramatic. During the 12 months following the opening, pedestrian traffic in the core has increased 115%. Stores reported business increases as high as 40% in the first year. Increased business has stimulated private investment in remodeling and new construction. And so today, this is the mall. Trams to carry shoppers from parking areas to stores, or from point to point within the mall. Play areas for the enjoyment of children who can be left in safety while parents shop at leisure. The mall has also become an ideal place for public events, social functions, and group activities for all ages. The city center no longer becomes deserted at nightfall. Soft lights have replaced glaring highway lamps. Shopping and other activities continue into the warm California evenings. The city center is no longer a place just for working, a place from which to escape as soon as possible. It has become a place of diversity, a place to enrich the daily life. All we have seen is only the first step in Fresno's overall plan. Visitors may glimpse the future in the Urban Renewal Information Office on Fulton Mall. Here, a model depicts Fresno tomorrow. The present Fulton Mall is the main east-west backbone of the system of malls. Eventually, a total of 5 north-south malls will be completed, fusing the whole downtown core into one super block. A new pedestrian underpass will connect the core with the county park, civic center, and convention center, uniting the downtown pedestrian area. Already, a new courthouse is nearing completion. Demolition is underway for a new parking garage, and construction is about to begin on the pedestrian underpass at this point. Nearby, the new convention center is rising. Because of its strategic location in the state, and because of its revitalized central area, Fresno expects to host a major share of California's convention activity. A block away stands a new 21-story hotel and office building, the first major office construction in 30 years. Behind the revitalization effort stands an army of forward-looking Fresno citizens. Public servants, the business community represented by the Downtown Association, and the professional planners and landscapers who have guided and coordinated the program. Because of the continuing efforts of all these groups, and because of the support of the whole community, Fresno is well on its way to a new era of prosperity and better living. A city is reborn.